Yeah, I don't know where ours went.
Says tags people.
We can just start. We can go ahead.
Well, what are we gonna have for questions after that?
Well, we have the questions pulled up on our phones.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Jake. I am currently a junior at the University of Minnesota studying biology with a minor in leadership.
My name's Paige, and I'm also a junior at the U of M, and I'm a math major. And when I'm done with the math major, I'm going to go on and get my teaching degree.
I'm Emily. I'm a junior as well at the U of M, and I'm majoring in psychology. I'm planning on going to grad school.
So the first question Ms. Powers wanted us to answer is just like how did we choose the college that we attended? So
One thing that I really took into consideration is that, I went here, I like being close to home. I like being able to use my parents as a resource. I still live on campus, and I lived on campus for all 3 years, but at the same time it was important that I was able to go home as a resource. Plus, I really took into consideration my career path. Most schools do have a biology degree, but I wanted to choose a place that was really accredited. I looked into a bunch of different schools, saw what they had for programs, and I decided that the U of M met what I wanted.
I actually started school when I was a freshman at the University of Wisconsin, Eau Claire, and I went there for a year and a half before I had transferred to the U of M. And I went there just because I loved the campus, I loved the school. I had a lot of good friends that were going there, and I ultimately ended up deciding to transfer just because the U just had a better program for what I was looking for. But definitely what went into consideration was just how affordable the school was, how much it costs, how big it was, how far away it was. Eau Claire is an hour and a half away from here, so it was close enough to home that I could still come home, but far enough away that I felt like I was in college.
Yeah, I think I agree with them. I like how it was closer to home. Some people don't like that idea, but I feel when you live on campus, you can make it as homey as you want. You can go home every weekend if you want, or you don't have to. So it's really up to your discretion. And then they have a really good psychology program, so that's basically why. What do you like about being a college student?
I really, really like the independence. I like being able to move out of my parents just because if I wanted to stay out in my friend's dorm for a good majority of the night, it's kind of nice not being able to have to text your parents and be here's where I am right now.
Yeah.
It's really nice getting that whole independence thing out of the way, and it was kind of jarring at first. I didn't know what to do. I felt like I was doing something wrong if I stayed out too late or whatnot. But it gets to that certain point where you get to just start making decisions for yourself, and it's awesome.
I love just being able to make your own schedule. You guys go to school every single day from 8 to 2:45, but for example today I have one class at 11, so you kind of get to make your own schedule, choose what classes you want to take. You have so many different options of what kind of classes you want to take, so that's really fun. And just being in the college atmosphere is a really fun time.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's see. One of the questions was if we live on or off campus. Jake?
Yeah, my first year I lived in the dorms, and that was a cool experience. I didn't know my roommates when I moved in, but we did an online roommate finder thing, found each other, and that worked out pretty well for the most part. I just kind of did that to make sure I didn't get grouped the weirdest person I know. But basically it was one message back and forth. I was oh, what do you do? Or it's oh, I do this in high school. Okay, well, it looks like we'll be a decent match as long as you saying that you don't start fires for fun and whatnot. And living in a dorm was a really, really fun experience. I wouldn't do it again just because like it's nice that have like my own room and everything. It's nice to have a little bit more privacy than a dorm would, and then it's also like if you're being too loud, you'll get like a knock on your door. That was always frustrating to me. But I currently live in a house that's like just north of campus, like within walking distance of most of my classes. So like it's a lot nicer. Plus it's like a lot cheaper because it's a little bit farther away.
I also lived in the dorms like when I went to Eau Claire, and they're super fun. I mean, every freshman, most schools like it's mandatory to live in the dorms for a year, but super fun. Had a good time. But since I transferred to the U, I just live at home. I live over in Maplewood, and so I commute to campus every day, and it's only like a 15-minute drive. Like it's really close. It's free to live at home, so I save a ton of money. My parents buy groceries, so I don't have to worry about food either. It can get kind of hard, just because sometimes you don't feel like very connected to campus, but having like friends on campus helps a lot, and you can totally get really involved if you so choose to.
And then yeah, I live in Dinky Town, which is like a 5-minute walk from campus. That's really nice. Yeah, it's above the Target Express, so that's pretty cool. Lots of shopping.
Yeah. Give some background on the type of student you were before college. What kinds of grades did you get? How hard or easy was school for you?
10 questions.
Entrance exams.
Oh wow, there's a lot.
Yeah.
On this question. In high school, like I was a pretty good student. Like I pulled A's and B's for the most part, and I thought I was I always tried consistently in high school, and I kind of thought that like college was going to be pretty similar in difficulty, just like basically the next step. But it really does take a lot more like effort. I feel like a lot of the classes that I have back in high school, like there's some that I didn't necessarily have to study for, like I could study for like the day of. But especially if you're going to be paying money to go to college, like you really want to take it seriously because, I mean, classes aren't structured so that they're easy. They have to like go through a certain amount of like backgrounds, and they have other instructors like check their material before they actually teach a course. It's just to make sure that they're not just passing out degrees, they're like actually having people like earn the degrees through like what courses that they choose. I took the ACT in high school and I did well. It's very good to like take those types of things seriously when you're in high school because you don't really like think of the impact that they have. But like just being able to like prepare for the ACT and just getting a decent score really helped me to just get into the U. I don't think I would have been able to get in there if like my scores were much different. I also took a couple AP classes and I thought those are like okay in high school. I wish I would have taken more though, just because like once I got to college, it's like, oh, you get college credit, but it doesn't really sink in like how great having a college credit is, or like certain courses I could just completely ignore taking in college just because I already got the credit for it in a high school context. Like I said, like I thought that high school courses were a little bit easier than college courses.
Yeah, I did pretty well in high school. I took a lot of AP classes. I think I took 6 or 7 AP courses. I passed like 4 of the exams, so I actually went into school with 18 college credits, which already puts you, like I was already like a second semester freshman when I started school. And like now, that has allowed me to like change my major a bunch of times, like have a lot more freedom in what kind of like classes I wanted to do. And like for example, next year I only have to take like 3 classes per semester, which is like the bare minimum to be like a full-time enrolled student. But yeah, AP classes definitely help. High school is a lot different because your teachers really care about you here, and they don't care about you in college, honestly. Like, they are just there for work. And, like, some are really nice, but a lot of times, like, they don't really care if you do well or not. They still get paid at the end of the day. Whereas in high school, like, your teachers care a lot about you and they want you to succeed. Like, that's all they really want. So, it's totally different when you go to school. Like, you have to work your butt off. in class, and you really have to work for the grade that you want, which for a lot of kids I think is a huge change. Like when they transition from high school to college, that's kind of hard to get used to. But yeah, definitely doing well on the ACT and doing AP classes helps a lot, and it lets you have a lot more like free range in what school you want to go to choose from.
Yeah, and then I was a pretty good student as well. I got A's, and then school wasn't that hard. High school wasn't that hard for me, but yeah, it's definitely a huge difference going from high school to college. I think it's definitely hard for professors because, you know, in a lecture of like 500 students, they're not going to like know your face or know your name, or they're not going to know that you're having issues with this topic. I mean, that's when you have to step up and take responsibility and say like, go to office hours and be like, hey, I'm like really struggling, could you help me out? Like that's kind of what I struggled with freshman year, was, you know, taking that initiative. Like I kind of just tried my hardest, but I didn't actually like ask for help or anything, and I think that's what I would have liked to know going into college, is that it's all on like you and like your actions.
Well, it's like how is college different from high school? So that's what we were just kind of talking about. Just like the rigor of courses goes up a lot. But I think that differs from college to college too. Like when from going from here to the University of Wisconsin, Eau Claire, that was definitely like a little easier school. That wasn't as big of a transition from high school. So it all kind of just depends on the school you go to. Whereas like even going from Eau Claire to the U of M, that was a really big shift, and I felt like that was a lot harder. Like that the U of M was a lot harder than Eau Claire. So if you ever feel like worried that college is going to be really hard, like there's so many schools to go to, and so many schools cater to different students' needs. And sometimes smaller schools are better, especially in like professor attention. Classes can be a lot smaller, so your professors can help you out a lot more, and give you more like one-on-one attention. So that helps a lot.
We like slightly mentioned before, but like one of the things I really liked that was like a change from high school to college is like the ability to like build your own schedule. Like with high school, like obviously you guys are here every day bright and early, which I really can't do that all the often. Like I'm amazed to see myself awake right now. I have a job that like requires me to work until like 4 in the morning at sometimes, so it's really nice being able to like build a schedule of classes. It's just like, okay, you're working till 4, but then your first class isn't until 11 or noon. That way it's able to get like a little bit of sleep in, but that would never be the case here. Like noon is about halfway through the day. It's yeah, you can just basically build a schedule however you like. I have a lot of classes I have a lot of friends that don't have classes on Fridays just because they want to have their Fridays off. And like some people have like classes at night where they're just like, oh, I don't want to do anything that night. Might as well just take like a 6 or 3 hour lecture instead of spreading it out over the week. And I don't know. I've taken my first 3 hour night class this semester, even though I've had the opportunity to all year, or like all 3 years I've been there. I never thought it was gonna be fine, but after taking it now, it's just kind of nice to be able to just do it in one block and just not worry about it for the rest of the week.
That is really nice to build your own schedule.
Yeah, it makes it like easier if you have to work while you're at school too.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that? Because you guys work. I don't work.
Yeah. Well, I work just because like my parents aren't capable of just paying for all of it. Like I definitely have to kick in a lot. I work probably 30 to 40 hours a week on top of a full like credit load, and it gets exhausting at times. But it really just takes a lot of like diligence. Just keep on top of it. Like keep yourself accountable. Like if I'm working till 4, like sometimes I won't want to go to class in the morning. Like I'll just want to stay in bed. But it really just takes a lot of just forcing yourself to do it. And like sometimes like it's like, oh, this is your first night off in a couple days. Like you don't necessarily want to do homework, but then you just know it's just like if you don't do it, you're gonna get really behind. And if you're paying all this money and you're spending all this time to try to do like a decent education and then you're just like failing classes, like, you just kinda have to keep your priorities straight. I mean,